An historic trilateral summit between the leaders of the US, Japan and the Philippines, sparking diplomatic tensions with China after the trio criticized Beijing's actions in the South China Sea and the East China Sea as dangerous and aggressive. In response, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has summoned its Japanese and Philippine diplomats to voice its dissatisfaction. For more, Simon Tay, associate professor and chairman at the Singapore Institute of International Affairs, joins us live. Professor Tay, we're heading into the next US election, so it's worth reminding ourselves that when Joe Biden was campaigning, a big part of his foreign policy pillar was to rebuild America's alliances. And the US has done that. So what we've heard, ironclad commitment to Japan, to the Philippines, these are not surprises. What might surprise are US allies and partners not just reaching out to their main ally, but to each other. So in this case, the Philippines and Japan, the Philippines and the UK, the Philippines and Australia. Does that surprise you?
It doesn't really. Over the last year, the Trilateral Summit idea has been increasingly used by America and the Biden administration. You don't have to be a fan of China to see this. Last year with South Korea, Japan and South Korea have had a terrible relationship over many years over the different issues from nuclear wastewater to comfort women. But now they've patched things up. So similarly with India, with other countries, Australia and Japan in particular have stepped up to really engage, as you say, not just America, but other friends of America. So this trilateral with the Philippines is the kind of the latest piece in the overall net of relationships that the Biden administration has built up in our region, which are pointed quite deliberately and pronouncedly against China.
Well, this latest security architecture, as you say, if it is really directed, even if it's, in this instance, it was specified, it is directed at China, does it work?
Which is unusual.
As a deterrent?
Well, that's the word deterrence. I mean, if deterrence means nobody should be taking untoward steps and trying to create threats to peace, that is a useful thing. But when you overstep deterrence, it can be seen to be shoving somebody back in a corner, giving him very little room to play out what he feels is his rightful due. So I hope that just as Biden has done this, Biden also had an important meeting with Xi at the back end of last year. Biden and the US are also looking to Xi to help contain the Middle East problem. So we hope that somewhere in America, there's this sense of global complexity as well as a particular problem in the Thomas Shoal.
All right. Since you mentioned the second Thomas Shoal, the Philippines looking to the US instead of one might argue might be ASEAN as an example. And there's a history for this. We're just looking back the last few months, November, signing agreement, looking for a code of conduct with Vietnam and Malaysia. In December, saying that we need a paradigm shift on lack of progress on the code of conduct in the South China Sea. In January, signing an agreement with Vietnam for maritime cooperation in the absence, from the Philippine possibly leadership point of view, lack of support from ASEAN. And we see actually today the Thai foreign minister making unilateral steps to Myanmar instead of working also again through ASEAN. Wherein lies ASEAN's centrality in this?
Every country has its certain priorities, For the Philippines, this is a big one. I don't think anyone in the ASEAN group should be trying to pull the Philippines back from where it feels its national pride, its national interest, and its seas is. They want a case. They should be able unilaterally to try to link up with people of like minds. But does that mean the Philippines can drag the 9 members of ASEAN to its position? And this is where group dynamics means that the group position will always be a degree of compromise between the individual preference. So here you have the Philippines saying, this is my major concern. And the only persons responding to this for their own reasons are the US with its Sino-American obsession and Japan, a historic problem with China, and the Senkaku Islands as well. So I don't think this is a break of ASEAN centrality or unity. It's certain wisdom of ASEAN as a group to stay out of certain claims. there are things that ASEAN can do together, and that's not everything that every country will demand.
All right, thanks so much for joining us this evening, Professor Simon Tay, chairman at the Singapore Institute of International Affairs. Thank you.